Okay, no fancy gadgets, no fancy gizmos. This is my story. It's Mental Health Week. So I was a British military policeman, served in Northern Ireland, served on the east-west German border, and I served in Shorncliffe detachment. And I was there on the day of the Deal bombing, and I rushed from Folkestone to Deal, and I was the only military policeman to attend that day. There were other military policemen that were sent to a place close by, but that was to come and pick me up if something had happened as a secondary device. So I spent the whole day there liaising between the military and the civil police. And it was quite a traumatic incident, really. I had to go to and from the makeshift morgue. And there was one point, and I remember it very clearly to this day, as if it was happening now. I was walking across the parade square and I looked across, and there was a nurse, and she was treating some people who were sat on chairs, and she broke down in tears. And I kind of looked a little bit bemused, thinking, well, you shouldn't be doing that. You're supposed to be helping people. What I didn't realise was actually I was feeling stuff like that as well. I covered it up with stuff called professional detachment. Let me tell you, people, professional detachment is an important aspect of it. But if you wrap everything up in professional detachment, it's just bullshit. I'm sorry to use the word, but it is. Sometimes you have to talk about things. So let me take you a few years further forward. I joined the civil police. What I found was, in training courses, if I brought up the Deal bombing, it was fine. If anyone brought up something that was a similar incident, I closed down and I didn't listen for a period of time, and then brought myself back into the room and listened. Well, that was a symptom. Do you know, from the day of the Deal bombing through to another traumatic incident, I never cried. Not at all. Nothing could cause me to cry. And a number of years later, I'd just got home from a late shift. I was an inspector. I was on the on-call inspector. And I got called to a very traumatic incident involving one of our officers. I'm not going to go into any details on that. The people who were there on the day know what it's about, and I don't want to raise things for them. But I stood outside of that incident because there was no need for me to go in there and disrupt the scene. But I debriefed every single officer coming out, and I formed my own images of what happened, and that stayed with me. I got home probably about 3 or 4 in the morning, and I bawled my eyes out. I couldn't stop. All of the trauma that I'd seen over the years, from me being a military policeman all the way through to then, all came flooding out in one night. The next day, I went and briefed all the police teams on the facts of the incident, because obviously lots of rumour and conjecture would get out. They asked me so many questions, and I answered them all honestly, and that was quite a cathartic opportunity, really, and really cleared my head of an awful lot of stuff involving that particular incident. My career went on. From time to time, I would allow myself to cry. If I ever go to Les Miserables, tears roll down my eyes and down my face. And then I was a chief inspector, a critical incident commander, firearms commander. So, saw some pretty interesting stuff, if interesting is the right word for it. Some pretty gruesome stuff and some hilarious stuff. One particular weekend, I went to 3 different incidents. One was involving a suicide, one was involving the killing of a sibling, and one was involving a traffic accident. And in this traffic accident, I remember it even now. I can see it, and it just looked like the person who had died was just a mannequin. And I was looking at it, just looking at it and staring at it. From that moment on, I started getting flashbacks. Nothing gruesome, just flashbacks. Nothing griefy. I'd dealt with so much shit over the years. It wasn't really affecting me, except sometimes one of my bosses would say something, I'd get angry about it. For no particular reason, I'd just get angry. And I noticed within myself this change. Fortunately, I went to the occupational health people. They assessed me. Normally there's a 2-week lead-in time, and they went, do you know what? We're going to see you, we'll put you through to a cognitive therapist. Your meeting's in 2 days' time. 10 sessions with Stephen Sharkey. What a brilliant guy he is. I'll tell you what, cognitive therapy, it's a real thing. It sort of takes you from the emotional side of your brain to the logical side of your brain. And we worked out some of the patterns that were causing me to feel like this and repackaged some of the stuff. And he signed me off as fit. My organisation allowed me to continue working in the role, and I thought this was a very mature thing for my organisation to do. They managed the risk around me because they were treating me, and I was talking honestly and openly. And this is a lesson to the police officers who think that you don't always get support from an organisation, or they'll sack you or they'll move you. I was a critical incident commander. I was honest about my feelings. I sought help as early as I practicably could. I received the help and I responded well to it. And I stayed in the role that I loved doing. And I still managed to help lots of people. And I briefed my colleagues who were also critical incident commanders, and I was scared stiff about this moment because I thought I was going to get criticised. Bearing in mind, this is a testosterone-driven environment. The sorts of things you see harden you to a lot of things. But do you know what? Every single one of them was more supportive than I could have ever asked for. And after that, I took up what they call TRIM, a TRIM course, which is Trauma Incident Management, something the Marines developed around peer counselling. It's not counselling, but it's a form of allowing people to debrief and then identifying the very minority of people that can't then package things off and get back to normality within about 28 days. I went to Afghanistan, I've worked in Afghanistan, I've worked in Kosovo, I've worked back in Afghanistan, and I've always been very, very honest about my feelings ever since then. And I've also, under the deployment with the Foreign Commonwealth Office, I've undertaken trauma incident management courses with them as well. It's really important, people, to talk, no matter what role you're in. Please feel free to share this with anybody you want. I haven't seen as much shit as some people have seen and managed to cope with it, and I've seen more shit than some other people have seen. I got to a point where I needed help, and I got that help, and even to this day I feel great. I'm really thankful for the people who have helped me and supported me, and I'm thankful of the opportunities I've had to help and support others. It's Mental Health Week, people. Spend some time with somebody you care about. Peace out.